Right, good evening. Welcome to the 12-Man podcast live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, Amazon, Deezer, all the usual places you listen to us talk, usual tribe. You got me, Steve Jackson. I'm your host for the evening, as usual. Mr. John Donovan's with us, resting, recuperating. He'll give you an update on how he's doing. How are you doing, John?
I'm all right. It's been a eventful weekend, hasn't it? So yeah, a lot to talk about.
Been an eventful week, never mind a weekend. So much has gone on since we last spoke. But guest tonight, you'll see his face. Everybody will recognise him. Everybody knows it. You go home the way with the bubby, you'll know exactly who this is. Liam McArdle's with us. Evening, Liam. You all right?
Yeah. All right, guys.
Good. Yes, everybody knows Liam. If you've been on a bus to an away game, you'll definitely know Liam is. So he's happily joined us tonight. He's going to talk to us about. We're going to talk about Sheff United reluctantly. We're going to talk about Watford even more reluctantly. We'll talk about Carrick. There's a lot of talk that's probably gone on this weekend internally, definitely externally. Social media's blew up with in, out, more ins and outs than the hokey cokey. And then we'll preview Friday night trip to Bristol City because it just gets that much easier. So yes, we'll talk about that and we'll go from there. But so before we start, injury update. Obviously, because everybody knows about your knee, John. We'll start with the knee. How is the knee?
It's still strapped up, still kept straight. I didn't get to see the Sheffield United game live. I had to watch it on TV. I didn't get to see the Watford game on Saturday either live or on TV because I was in hospital. I had to go back with my knee. So I missed everything with regards to the Watford game. So I'll let you lads talk about that because apart from brief highlights, I haven't seen a great deal. I've read a lot, but so yeah, it's just a case of keeping it straight and letting the repairs that the surgeons have done, given that time to hopefully heal, so that I'm back to having a working knee in a few months' time, hopefully.
Trust me, when you get to the Watford chat, John, you're not going to miss much. I mean, we'll get into it though. We will get into it, but right, let's get stuck in. I don't want to, but we've got to. We'll start with Sheff United. We'll start with Bramall Lane. Liam, I'll start with you. So obviously you make the trips as much as me and John do. What was your optimism like going to Bramall Lane? You know, were you cautiously optimistic? Were you thinking, oh God, I don't know what's going to happen? What was the feeling like when you pulled up on Wednesday night?
I mean, going into the game, I kind of looked at it as a free hit. Like them sort of games when the fixtures come out, I kind of put them to the one side and think if we get anything away at Sheff United, spent a lot of money and stuff. But it's probably the first time in a long time that I actually thought we were going to beat them. Just on the bus on the way there, I just had this feeling that everything was going wrong for us. They were doing really well. They'd underestimate us, and Carrick had finally picked the right 11, and we'd do it. But wasn't to be, was it?
Oh. I wanted to try and find what your optimism was, but I was like you. I thought, you know what, we might have a chance here. We usually do all right at Bramall Lane. John, how did you feel about the game Wednesday night? Obviously, you feet up watching it at home with many thousands that were doing so. What were your feelings before kick-off?
Well, we discussed it on last week's podcast, and I said, yeah, I would have taken a point all day long. I know we'd had a free weekend because we didn't have a game, so we had a bit of a longer rest period than normal. But their home form is strong. They sometimes get results out of nothing, even when they're playing poorly. The pick up wins, just as promoted teams have to do. Win when they're not playing well. So I thought it was going to be very, very tough. And like I said, I would have been more than happy to come away with a point from any result.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I said that as well, didn't I, last Monday? I thought, well, was it last Monday? No, it was last Tuesday. I don't know anymore. I thought I took a point. I know I would have. Really tough place to go, Bramall Lane. But like I said, we've got a good record at Bramall Lane. I've been a few times where we've gone there and we've done a job. I mean, a couple of seasons ago when Archer turned it on for 20 minutes and just ripped them to pieces. You know, that it had the potential, but I mean, let's just get stuck in the goals. Liam, let's start with the first one. I had a right go at Giles for the first one. Watched it back. Started looking at Travers and I thought, oh God, clean him out. It doesn't matter if you take our man there, man. You take the grasp here, I don't care. Just take someone out. But it's just another goal where the calamities at the back just carry on, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the whole team in general are just lacking a direction at the moment. They're not bad players. I don't think they're bad players. They've proven in the past that they can actually do stuff, but it's not always the defenders. Sometimes it's the players in front of them that maybe aren't getting back and covering. I think it's a lot more than just defensive errors. And obviously, you've probably seen a lot of people slating Woodgate because he's a defender, an ex-defender. So it's obviously his fault, isn't it, when we can see goals? But there's a lot more to it. I feel sorry for Giles. I don't think he's been as bad as what some people have made out. I'm not saying he's been brilliant, but I feel a bit sorry for him. I think he's given us a little bit more balance on there. It's just he's come in at a time where things are a bit all over the place a little bit. They just need to maybe have a bit of a relax and regroup and see what happens next time.
No, you've got a point, to be honest. You know, he has been chucked in a little bit, hasn't he? John, what did you think about the goal? Obviously, I let my opinions very much known when I saw the goal.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
what do you think?
yeah, it was another one where you just drop your head, just shake your head, and you wonder what the hell has gone on, because both the keeper and Giles just lost sight of the ball, and it was bumbling around without anybody taking real responsibility to clear the lines, and eventually it falls to is it Raki, somebody or other, the guy who scored, Raksaki, yeah, and it was just another one of those goals where you know, if you were an opposition or a neutral supporter, you'd laugh like hell at it. But as a Borough fan, you just shake your head and sort of look through your fingers at it. It was a disastrous goal to give away. Now, I'm not saying it was against the run of play or anything like that, but against tough opposition who've got a fantastic home record, it's the last thing you want to do is to give them the initiative so easily.
Yeah, that was the most annoying bit, because I know they had chances before that. I know they were well in the game, Sheffield United. I fully get that, and I thought we've done all right to get to 0-0 at this point. But it's the manner of the goal. If you concede the goal and it's a good goal, and you think, all right, fair enough, good goal, it's 1-0. It was just so poor. It was just so poor, and it proper annoyed me to the point where I thought, I don't know why I'm bothering anymore. I really don't. And obviously, all three of us are students enough to know, yeah, we're just going to keep doing it anyway because that's what we do. But the equaliser came, John. One, it's a definite penalty. I don't know what he's moaning about. It's clear as day. I know Edmondson's got a bit of a cling on him, but if you're daft enough to keep hold of him when the referee's staring at you, it serves you right. And the finish from Bergzor as well from the penalty spot. It was a hell of a finish. He got his back in the game right at the perfect moment as well, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a penalty too. You know, there was pulling from both parties, but I think the majority of it was coming from Robinson, and we got lucky. Let's be honest, we got lucky because it's a brave call by the ref to give the away team a penalty when there was a bit of give and take in the incident. So yeah, he made a big call, and the responsibility fell to Bergzorg, who played okay up to then, and and he got us back in the game, put the penalty away really well. And after that, as the game progressed, yes, we still looked disorganised. We didn't look at our best. But I was hopeful then, that we could see this game out and come away with a lucky point. And then I'll get Liam to describe the second and third goals, and I'll have a say later on. But yeah, we were hit by the second and third goals from Sheffield United, and in the end, it was a deserved victory for them.
There you go, Liam. You've been given the floor. The second goal, I've never done a defence pass as bad as that. I mean, Brereton Diaz had the freedom of Sheffield to score the goal. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally. We just didn't handle it well when he come on. I don't know what to say about it. They'd just gone missing, hadn't they? It was just it's hard to, I don't know. Just one of them ones. They get another mistake. They're just not concentrating enough. It was hard to take that one, actually. Especially coming back at 1-1, you're 1-1, and then to concede a goal like that.
I know. I completely agree with you. It's the second goal was just, to be honest, without being hard, it was a complete joke. It was an absolute joke. How separated your left centre half and your left back can be. And Josh sent me a picture of it looked on Sky and it looked like an awful shape. I was like, Jesus, the basics not even getting followed anymore. But the third goal as well, Travers is looking round for an excuse. I've been fouled. Nowhere near him, was it? Let's face it, he was nowhere near him.
No, I think he was trying to make excuses for himself there. No.
Yeah, I mean, he'd done okay during the game. I know he was involved in the first goal, and then he was totally at fault with the third. But he'd made some decent stops during the game. But like you said, 3-1, a scoreline that it didn't flatter Sheffield United, because I thought they were by far the better team. But that was largely down to us. I was chatting to you, Steve, and the other lads on our WhatsApp group, and I was just saying, I watch all the football and I watch Match of the Day, and you can see the lines of the defence. You can see that they're all sort of like following instructions, following orders, all in a line and in shape. I watched that because I didn't go to the game. I watched that on telly, and we were absolutely all over the place. There seemed to be no discipline in the shape. Players, individuals were way out of position, like for the second goal, where Ryan Giles was as to where he actually should have been. Only he knows. Yet the shape of our team was just we were getting pulled all over. You've got to have discipline. You've got to keep, your structure. And we'll go on to it later as to whose fault whose door the fault lies at for that. But, players must be able to look across the pitch and, they know where their colleagues are and how far they need to push out. But we were all over the shop against Sheffield United. It was shambolic to see the lack of organisation and discipline.
Scary, wasn't it? Scary how easy it was. I thought sometimes it takes something to sit back and just see it again. And like you said, it's not even complicated stuff anymore. It's basics. You're taught growing up playing football. Doesn't matter what level you're at. Doesn't matter if you're playing with your mates. But stay in the line. Stay in your lines. as simple as it gets. The shapes we were pulling on Wednesday, honestly, I thought the break dancer from Australia was even better than that, and she got bugger all in the Olympics. You know what I mean? I mean, come on.
I don't know whether it's communication on the pitch or communication within the dressing room and before the match ended at half time. I'm not sure, but to be so disorganized was a shock to me. Like I say, I normally go to all the games and I normally see it from the terraces, more often than not from behind the goal. But sometimes, if we stood at the side of the pitch, you see it from that angle. And to watch the TV and to see it from the camera angle, and then also to see replays, it sort of like it showed how bad it was. It just emphasised how bad our discipline and organisation was.
Yeah, it just wasn't great. There was no excuses. There was no, like, sometimes you can sit there and think, now we were a bit unlucky with this or that, or you always pick something. You always make that when you're on them journeys home. You always make that thing and say, yeah, but we were quite unlucky doing that. I just looked and I thought, no. We were so. It was probably the most convincing 3-1 win I've seen, to be quite honest. They could have scored more. We had chances, yeah, we did. You're absolutely right, but yeah, you can't complain that they deserved it. It was so bad. But like you said, we'll go into a little bit after the Watford game. Who this all lies with. Who should take the blame? Who should stand up and be counted? But obviously, you weren't there for Watford, John. I'll let you do my job for a little bit because obviously, you couldn't speak about the game, so I'll let you do my job now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was trying to keep up with the. I couldn't even get commentary. I was in the hospital and I couldn't even get commentary on my phone because the commentary from BBC Tees was the Hartlepool game. So I was having to rely on a Bet Insight for updates, as to what's going on. Obviously saw the teams. I'll tell you how I felt when I saw the teams come, but I'll ask you, Liam, Saturday's team for Watford, was there any surprises in there for you? Was the players who weren't in the starting 11 that you thought should have been?
To be fair, I've been wanting Hackney to play in that attacking left role for quite a while. And I do believe Balassa's a better player when he plays with Morris. Balassa is not a grafter, so he needs a grafter alongside him. I think that's probably why he's played poor when Morris was out injured. But I was surprised to see him in that lineup. I wanted to see Whittaker back in there. I know people have been critical of Finn Azaz of late because he hasn't been producing, and he has kind of been our main man alongside Latty Lath with the chances he creates and the goals he's been scoring. But I expected Carrick to go back to basics with basically his original team of sort of Azaz, maybe Conway up top. I would have had Hackney attacking left, but maybe Bergzog there, Whittaker there, and then Hackney and Morris in the middle. And I thought Dykesdale might have been back in, and I thought he might have kept Giles in. I thought he might have I think that's his best team, basically. But I was surprised to see Balassa, even though I kind of wanted him in there, if you know what I mean, and Hackney further forward. I was a bit surprised with the way they set up with Iheanacho sitting a bit deeper than Conway. I don't know if that's because at Sheffield United, there was a couple of times where we'd try to feed the ball through, which you would just wait for Latty Lath to run onto. And Iheanacho's so far behind, he's not the same player. Maybe that's why they dropped him a bit deeper, I don't know. But yeah, probably I was surprised to see Balassa in there, to be honest. And it has been dropped. I know he hasn't been playing well of late, but just starting them two, I thought it was a bit odd starting Iheanacho and Conway in the manner that he did, like where they were positioned.
Okay, yeah. Stephen, what was your thoughts? I mean, you were, I don't know, were you at the fan zone or were you just driving to the ground when the team was announced? What was your thoughts when you heard it?
I just got down to Teesside. where's Bergsorg? Where's Bergsorg? Why has he dropped him? That's the bit I couldn't get my head round. I could see, a bit like what Liam said, I could see the point with what he was doing with Hackney, because Hackney, even though he spent most of the time coming inside, every single time in the first half, I could see his point. I could see why he was doing it. I could see why he dropped Giles. He didn't have the greatest game against Sheffield United, did he? Maybe make a point. I was surprised not to see Dijksteel, because I think, we'll talk about Ayling in a little bit as well. Ayling is like your pet dog. When your pet dog's getting towards the end, and you don't want to admit it, but you just know it's coming, and that's what it feels like. And you feel like he knows it as well, and it was just really bad to see, and you do feel bad watching it. But Dijksteel, just for me, should be starting more games now. I think he's a bit more energy on the right hand side. But the big one was Bergsorg. Best player on the pitch by a long way against Sheffield United, and he drops him. I just couldn't get my head around it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you spoke about Ayling there, but I just think that there's absolutely zero confidence at all amongst the squad, and it's affecting every player. Rav van den Berg, a brilliant young player. We saw it last season. We saw it at the beginning of this, but now he looks like all the others. He looks like just totally lost. And that's what a run of bad performances, bad results, it does that to you. And you're playing at home. You've got a crowd who are wanting you to perform. We had the chance to go back into the top 6 on Saturday, and we didn't fulfil that. So anyway, I'll ask you now about your thoughts on the first half, Jacko.
I've never seen such a disorganised team. I didn't know what formation we were playing, because, like I said, Hackney was just drifting the whole time. We just looked, it was zero confidence. It's like we weren't confident what we were told to do or what we were supposed to do. It was sad, because you look at the team, even 3 months ago. I remember me and you, John, talking on the way back from Oxford, battering them 6-2, and I thought, you know what, I know it's only Oxford, and you don't get excited by stuff like that. We could do that to most teams in this league, because once we get going, that's what we do. We go forward, we just start putting the ball in the back of the net, and we've been threatening it, and we've been talking about it. Now we look empty. We look absolutely empty. All our form players that we usually rely on, Van den Berg, Morris, Conway, even when he comes in, we just didn't look like anything. I mean, do you want me to talk about the goal? The goal was an absolute joke. I've never seen such disorganised defending. We were once a team that was, teams couldn't get set piece goals off us. We didn't concede them. Saturday was an absolute, I don't even know what we were setting up as. No one knew who they were marking. They just all ran in a straight line. And Sissoko just walked forward and went, I'll have that. We all saw it from the back of the North Stand. We knew it was coming. It was just so depressing. It was awful.
To be fair, any of us could have scored that goal, because we had the time. He had the time. He had the space. If we'd have been in the same position, we'd have scored that goal. It wasn't difficult. It was absolutely simple stuff. We go behind. We tried to get back in it. We made the keeper work a little while. Van den Berg hit the post. Did you have that sinking feeling when we won 1-0 down that we weren't going to get back into it, or did you still have that little bit of hope, Liam?
Second half, I thought there was times where they passed it about well enough, but I just felt that I thought that when it was 1-0, I thought that was it. I couldn't see when they got in that final third. I wasn't expecting anything. There was a couple of times where I was sat there and a few people around me were like jumping up and thinking we were going to score, and I was just sat there because I was just sat there thinking we're not going to score here. I couldn't see it coming. I genuinely couldn't see it coming.
Yeah, I mean they had a worse sort of current form record than we had. And yet, they come to our place, steal 3 points. There's another team, 6 points off us. I remember the game down there when we were 1-0 up and comfortable. And again, that game went away from us when we made substitutions, middle of the 70-odd minute mark. It's utterly frustrating. So, we see the game out, comes to the final whistle, and for those fans that remained in the stadium, a lot of them greeted the final whistle with a chorus of boos. Now, I understand people's reactions, and I'll pose the question now. Where do we go from here as a team, as a club, as a fan base? I'll ask you, Liam, where do we go from here?
I'll be honest, after that match, I was like, Carrick's gone. I thought he's done. I think the last couple of games he's been overthinking things a little bit. It's affected his team selection. We've obviously got them 2 defeats. I thought he's gone, and I thought the only way, I've been saying this for a long time, since when Carrick first came in, before a ball had even been kicked, that what worried me was that he didn't have an experienced coach on the bench with him. There's been numerous times where his in-game management, it's just been non-existent. You talk about Watford the last game when we played him away in the substitutions. He takes off Ben Doak. Ben Doak had a poor game that day, but what he was doing was he was keeping their back line pinned back because their left back thought, right, I'll sit back. So he's got nowhere to go. When he takes Ben Doak off, they just come up the halfway line. They have they're in our half. Little things like that. Same at Norwich. Norwich 3-1 up. He has Latty Lath and Jones ready to come on because he thinks we're going 4-1 up. We missed the penalty, brings him straight on. Anyone with a bit of experience about him would have told him to sit down for 5 minutes and seen how the next 5 minutes went. Maybe brought a midfielder on, gain control. I think I don't blame Woody. I don't blame Carrick. I don't blame Ledbetter. I think they're all half-decent coaches in their own right. I think Carrick's got a great vision, but he's just got no one there to rein him in and to just point out a few little things. I think even though he's there with Woodgate and we've probably got good football knowledge, I feel he's kind of on his own a little bit there. I think moving forward, he's going to have to get them players into a same room. He's going to sit down. He's got to sit down and have a chat with them, and he's got to make sure that they're all going to back him. And then he just has to just stick to a plan, stick to what he wants to do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. People saying on social media, bring a Venables type manager in. You do that and Carrick's finished. Maybe if he can manage to get to the end of the season, you look at maybe strengthening on that coaching side of things, which he has always said. He said from day one when he's brought coaches in that whilst they're always looking at bringing in better players, they still want to do the same on the coaching side of it. So maybe you've got to do it. Otherwise, he hasn't got a future here, in my opinion.
Well, if you remember when he first come to the club, the discussions and then his announcement seemed to take quite a long time.
Yeah.
Now, you know what social media is like. You know what the rumours were. It was that he wanted somebody to come in with him. And I don't think he was allowed to bring the players in. If I can remember what social media was saying at the time. Do you think that's something that should happen now?
What players or coaches?
His staff. Sorry, yeah. I mean somebody alongside him. Like you'd always get a head coach.
Yeah.
And he always takes 2 or 3 people with him. We'll talk about Mowbray and Venus, and there's always a couple of people who work well together. He came into the club on his own.
Yeah, I think they've obviously been sitting and having a chat, Gibbo and Carrick. Maybe they are looking at maybe bringing someone in. Obviously, Phelan's a free man at the moment. When Carrick first came, I think he was still employed by Man United at the time. But you'd still, I think, if you've got to bring an experienced number 2 in for me, but bringing him in this situation, if he brings someone in and we end up getting in the playoffs, everyone's going to think it's because of him, and it's a catch-22 situation, whatever you call it, isn't it? You need to bring someone in, but then you bring someone in, and then it kind of, if you do better, it discredits Carrick. It's a strange one. I think if Carrick can turn it round without this experienced coach and somehow make the top 6, and he's allowed to stay next season, then bringing him in that sort of break over the summer would probably be the better way. But obviously the fans will want promotion this season. They want to see us get in the top 6. So I don't know. I'm sure they'll have discussed bringing someone in. Depends who's available, what money they've got, and when they're thinking about bringing them in. But he does need some help.
Yeah. Jacko, what's your thoughts? What direction do we take from here? And after you've answered this, you can go back to hosting, because I'm not very good at it.
You're all right. You're doing all right. The fans have now got to accept he's in charge now. Like we've had all weekend of I think he's gone. I think we should bring Steve Cooper. I think we should bring Rob Edwards in. I think we should bring whoever in. I think Dave down the road who does the Sunday League footy. He'd do a good job. It doesn't matter now. Michael Carrick's in charge now. Give him his backing and say he trusts him to turn it around. I've said for weeks and months, as you know, John, I think he needs someone behind him just to give him that tap on the shoulder. And I think he's missed that. He's got Woodgate that'll bark in his ear every 5-10 minutes. You see him wandering across and then wandering back, like he's on a bungee. But like I said, I just don't feel that he's influencing enough games. There's even the substitutes on Saturday weren't like. It was a panic. You could tell it was a massive panic. It was literally, putting Alien Jr. at left back. I had Neil stood next to me. He said, apart from Neil saying to me, when did it turn 1-0? One of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I was like, it's been 1-0 for about half an hour. But hey ho. He said to me, what time he touches Alien Jr. takes? The answer was 3. In 20 minutes, he has 3 touches. That's a panic. He panicked and went 3-2-5 and thought, I'm praying we get something now, and it just didn't work. Whereas the experienced head behind him would have tapped him on the shoulder and gone, give it 5 minutes. A bit like Liam said, give it 5 minutes, just sit back and watch it unfold and see what happens. And then we can make the move one by one. But he needs someone behind him just to say, this is what I think you should do. Whether he takes the advice, he's going to put it up to him, but he's got to have a second opinion. You can't just have his mates and stuff saying, we'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that. Just have a couple of options on the table, and I just feel that's what we're lacking at the moment.
Yeah, the thing is, over the weekend, social media had sightings of 2 or 3 different managers, potential managers, seen in the Teesside area. There's also been seen at Rockcliffe. Somebody who's well connected within the club has told somebody in the pub that this is happening. It was all going on. It was all going on this week. But like you say, speculation ended today when Gibson gave Michael Carrick the backing. Now, there are already a large number of fans who've made their mind up, and they have decided that Carrick's not the answer. But I think what we all need to do now is to swallow our personal pride, whether you support Michael Carrick or not. It's all about Middlesbrough Football Club, and I think every single one of us needs to get behind the club as much as we can when the team's playing and give them the support. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. I'm not saying we're just going to turn up now and because Michael Carrick's got the backing that things are going to fall into place. There is so much wrong, but also this isn't a bad set of players. This isn't a bad set of players at all. We've seen performances from this group of players that have absolutely had us on the edge of our seats and standing up and screaming and shouting as the goals fly in. Something's changed. Something's gone wrong, and results have fallen off a cliff, and our confidence is at a record low. But what can we do as fans other than give them our support, get behind them? Whether or not we'll see any help come in for Michael Carrick, that remains to be seen. I'd just like us to get our get ourselves in a position where we can get something from a game. Now, if that means have a more rigid midfield and back three, back five, whatever, to just stop teams scoring against us and us to concede soft goals. Start at Bristol City, come away with Bristol City with something, come away with a point, give us fans something to cheer about. We need to get our organisation improved, because, like I said, against Sheffield United, when I watched it on the TV, it was glaringly obvious how bad it was. So I'm hoping this has been an absolutely massive wake-up call for the manager, the head coach, whatever, for his coaching staff, for the team, for the players, because the players don't come out of it scot-free. Errors are happening on the pitch, and it's basic errors that are happening on the pitch. So the players are involved in all of this. It's not just down to Michael Carrick or Jonathan Woodgate or Graham Carrick or Grant Ledbetter. We've got to take a collective responsibility. So I'm hoping that this is a bit of a all around the Grant's house type of situation where there's been head-to-heads, clear the air talks, some heated discussions, and I just want us to see more spirit, more desire, more fight, more organisation, and for goodness sake, just do the simple stuff and do it right.
Oh, can I be a host now? Right, okay. There you go. There's your war cry.
No, listen, I didn't think I was going to stop there. I just wanted to go on and say so. Sorry about that.
No, I'm glad you cracked on. You said everything everybody should be thinking now. We can all have our discussions, before or after the games, home or away, whether, if it's us lot on the motorway in the middle of nowhere, traveling at, 5 o'clock in the morning, going down to Swansea because we're daft, have the conversations then. All I'm begging now is if, when you get into the Riverside, when you get into that away end, for them 90 minutes, just give that team everything. Just give them everything. Leave them more. I'm not saying anybody's not entitled to their opinion and whatever they want. You pay your money, of course you do. And seeing ticket prices are coming out tomorrow, and God forbid what they're going to be like. But I was hoping to come out today, so I could have a chat without them. But we'll talk about that next week. I just want everybody just to sing off the same hymn sheet. He's here now. These players are here now. We can't change this squad anymore. There's no window. There's nothing we can do anymore. This is the players we're going forward with until May at the very least. So, that all starts. This 14-game run to the end of the season starts in Bristol on Friday. Things have to change. You're right, John. Things do have to change. If you were the man in charge, though, John, what would you change first? Is there anybody in that lineup you'd bring out and put back in? Is there anyone you think we're crying out for?
Well, I would like to see us go to 3 centre halves and 2 wing backs, just to add extra solidity to our pretty porous defence. But as I've said earlier in previous podcasts, that's a gamble at the moment because we only have 3 fit, recognised centre halves. Yes, we have other players who can fill in and deputise. So maybe that's the move we do need to make. Go back to a 5 at the back with our 2 left and right fullbacks pushing on when the opportunity arises. But like I said earlier, I just think we need to stop the rot and get something from Friday's game. It's vital. We're 11th in the table, but we're not far away on points. But we haven't got a hope in hell of getting into top 6 unless we turn around this slide. And it's got to start on Friday.
Exactly. We need to turn the slide, if we want to go playground terms, into a seesaw, and we need to go the other end and slide back up. And we need to do something. Would you take an ugly 0-0 on Friday, Liam? Is that how far we've got now?
At Bristol, I would, yeah. It's a bit of a dodgy place, but from Middlesbrough. Yeah, I mean, it's away from home. Obviously, the players will probably prefer being away from home this coming week after being booed off at the weekend. I agree with everything about getting behind them. Everyone has a right to their own opinion, but it doesn't help the team. We've seen it in the past, booing and stuff and getting on the back. Players start going missing, start hiding behind people. Then the fans get on the backs even more, and then we know what happens. We get beat. But yeah, a 0-0's it's an improvement over the last four losses on the trot, is it? And 5 and 6 or something. So a draw's a step in the right direction. Ideally 3 points, but I think I agree with John. I think we need to play them 3 centre halves. I do think what you said earlier about at Watford, you didn't know what formation you're playing. I thought they actually started with 3 centre backs and they had Borges and Whittaker on the halfway line. But every time Ailey went forward, because Carrick likes him forward for them crosses, Morris kept dropping in. So I think if he goes 3 at the back, just tell him to just stay at the back. None of this just tell him to stay at the back. Make sure the wing backs are coming back and helping. It's whatever formation he goes, he just needs to, for me, just give him simple instructions for now. Be solid, simple, and take your chances when they come. He always allows them players in the final third to do what they want. Just be solid at the back, get the ball up into that final third, and let them attacking players do what they're there to be paid for, and then see what happens.
Yeah, it's kind of what we did last year, isn't it? We went on a really bad run. We came up against a really good Leicester team who were clearly going to win the league.
Yeah.
Went to the 3 at the back, frustrated them, and we just did a job. Ugly, sat and just took the pressure and got the goal and nicked it. We were all took a 0-0 that day.
Yeah.
Every one of us would have took a 0-0. But I think that's the way we've got to go. And we just got to dig our heels in and we just got to grind it out, no matter how ugly or bad it looks. We just need to come out with something now.
Carrick has done that in the past with the 3 centre backs. When he's on a bit of a slide, he'll go to the 3 centre backs. He play 2 or 3 games like that till they get the rhythm again, and then goes back to the original setup. But maybe the lack of centre halves is affecting his choices with that.
Yeah, I mean, Liam was just he said what I was going to say. We have got to arrest the slide somehow. We've just got to put the brakes on and stop the downward trajectory of our league position. We've got to stop it as soon as possible. And if it takes backs against the wall stuff and soaking up pressure at Bristol City to get something out of the game, then fine. And then we go from there for the Stoke game afterwards. But it's up to Carrick. It's not up to the fans as such. it's up to Carrick, because at the end of the day, he chooses the team. He tells them how to play. Now, the players cross the line, and it's not up to Carrick, that they make their own individual errors. But as fans, our job is to support the team. Difficult as it is when we're losing, and difficult as it is when we're conceding soft goals, and difficult as it is when we see defeat after defeat racking up, it's what we're there for. We are supporters. So let's do our job. Let's hope and try and help the players do their job. And let's hope Michael Carrick has had a realization, that he's almost a dead man walking, because if things don't improve, then come May, he won't be at this club anymore. If we don't achieve what we set out to do in August, and that is minimum of a playoff position. So the pressure's on, but we've got to just, at this moment in time, arrest a dreadful run of results and the slide down the table. So fingers crossed, Friday is that time that we get something out of it. Luck plays a part. We got a bit lucky at Sheffield United with the penalty, but other than that, we haven't had a great deal of luck. So let's hope Lady Luck comes on the bus down to Bristol, and she can sprinkle some dust in the Borough dressing room, and we get our fair share.
That's all I asked for. That's literally all I asked for. I've always said I don't mind coming out of any away game or home game if we've give it everything, and we leave it all on the pitch, and that's all I asked for on Friday. If we can do that and get a result, I'd be absolutely delighted, because it's a tough place to go, Ashton Gate. They're banging the fight with us. You make your own luck. We've had our bad luck. We've had our good luck. We just need a rubber of the green. Would be nice. I think the Carrick deserves a bit of luck as well. You look at the winner against Sunderland. It was, Ryan Giles hitting probably the most plumb shot he's ever hit in his life. Unfortunately, it was in the wrong net. It's just bits and bobs of luck we haven't had, and I'm just praying we get something. We can talk again next week, and we're all nice and happy. But before we do go, I'll start with you, Liam. Score prediction, and anytime goal scorer, if you please.
I'm going to go for 1-1 Conway.
There you go.
Against his old club.
They've been calling him out this week. I've been seeing all the comments underneath his social media. I've gone into him, so I'd love him just to give it the old right in front of the big old men. That'd be class. John, come to you.
I'll go 1-1 also. And I'll go for Morgan Whittaker to score.
He needs a big game. I felt he disappeared a little bit on Saturday. Which is what Plymouth fans have been saying, but I just hope he has got the heart and the bottle, and because his quality is there. You saw it on Saturday. There was glimpses of his quality. So I'm going to go against the grain from the pair of you. Boring gits. 2-1 Borough. I'm going to go 2-1 Borough. I think this will be the game. I think today would be a massive wake-up call for the whole club. It's Gibbo's kind of stepped in where Kieran Scott usually would probably step in, being his boss. But it's the boss has stepped in now and said, right, sort it. I backed you, sort it. So I'm hoping that gives him the thump to go on and produce it. And I think it'll be someone, he's been rinsed all week. It wouldn't surprise me if Luke Ayling got a goal. Wouldn't surprise me at all if he just popped up. Him or Vandenberg got a goal, because the criticism they've been getting. But I'll probably decide close to the day. if either of them do even start. So, but I fancy us 2-1. There you go. That's my prediction for Friday night. But just like that, we're all done. You know, it wasn't the easiest chat, but we got through it. There was a lot of positivity in there. So, John, keep your legs straight. Don't bend it. Keep going. Hopefully see you again very soon. Well, I'll see you again next week anyway. But, you know, Liam, thank you very much for your time.
No
Really
worries.
good to have you on. I'll see you in the away end or even the North Stand again very soon. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. And thank you for all listening, liking, contributing, subscribing, and just being involved. And yeah, we'll talk again next week. Arrivederci, up the borough, be seeing you. Toodaloo.
Keep the faith, up the borough.